From the workspace settings, there is a section dedicated to workers. You can see how workers are free to try until August 11th, 2026, and then they will consume Notion credits. And there are details in this help doc here linked on this section. As a workspace owner, you can disable the workers, and you can also manage who can create workers in your Notion workspace. You can also pause all workers, or you can do that on each of them via the three-dot menu. You can disable or delete them. From here, you can also see all the workers in your workspace, their status, who created it and who owns it, and the created and updated time. There is also a section dedicated to workers on the developer portal that you can access from here. And this is what it looks like. If you have Get Started, that's a quick way to find the documentation or create new connections. And there is the connections section, that's the usual one. And then the workers section, where you can see all your workers, their status, the capabilities, because a worker can be a sync worker that syncs data from a third-party tool, or an AI tool that is used as part of a custom agent. Then if I click on it, I can see the last successful run, and I can manage it in the CLI. Then there are personal access tokens. You can create them manually here, or they also get created automatically if you authenticate via the Notion CLI. There is a dedicated command that you can find in the documentation on how to do that. And then a personal access token gives you the ability to create and manage workers within the workspace that you authenticate through. A Notion worker is a Node or TypeScript program that extends Notion. So you write the code via the Notion CLI, and then you deploy the worker, and it is automatically scheduled to run or run by a custom agent or via a webhook within the Notion infrastructure. So you just write the code and deploy the agent and deploy the worker, and then the infrastructure is managed by Notion. So there are three types of workers right now. One that syncs external data into Notion, similar to Coda packs, if you've ever used Coda. Then there are workers as AI tools that you can connect on the custom agents within the tools section. You can connect a worker as a tool to perform a certain action that is deterministic in some sense. So it might be a tool to retrieve data from Jira, for example, or another third-party tool, or do some calculations that the custom agent might use as part of refining your project management system based on dates and shifting dates for accounting for different factors that you input into the custom agent at runtime. And a Notion worker can also receive webhooks from external services. So it can either run on a webhook schedule if it is a sync worker, or you can also run on a cron schedule, meaning every hours, every minute, every day, and so on. So you can see you can quick start building a Notion worker by first installing the CLI via this command. You need macOS or Linux at this time, although Windows is supposedly coming soon. Then you can initialize a new project, scaffolding a new worker that also contains some documentation if you're using an AI tool to build this. Then you can deploy to Notion via this command, and then it would show up on your developer tab in the workspace settings, as long as you also authenticate. And you can find how to do that on the CLI reference tab here, or you can authenticate via NTN login. This will open a new browser tab where you can select the workspace where the worker will operate, and that's authenticated. And then you can see that information in the worker section on the developer platform. To test a Notion worker, I'm using Cursor to create a worker that syncs the top 10 story from Hacker News into a Notion data source. The main file here is the index.ts that contains the code that syncs data from the Hacker News free and open API that doesn't require any authentication into a Notion database. When the worker is deployed the first time, there is a new managed database created that is defined here with these properties, because workers use managed databases. So on deploy, you need to create a new database to sync workers, at least at the time of recording this video. And the database looks just like any other database in Notion. You can see it here. It just has this synced tag that tells you that this database is synced by a worker. All the other features in Notion databases work exactly as they do. So you can create new pages, edit things, make comments, open each item as a page, property, removing properties. And when it runs, for example, the demo that I did runs every 3 hours, or it can also be run manually via a dedicated command. Then it creates the top 10 stories. It upserts them. So if one already exists, then it just updates the data. Otherwise, it creates a new top 10 story. And then the data looks like this. There is a title, author, comments, and then direct links to the Hacker News discussion and the source link of the article from Cursor. I also created the GitHub repo synced with this local folder so that updates to these workers stay up to date in a dedicated GitHub repo that makes it portable. And if you're working with a team, it makes it very easy to collaborate and have access to Notion workers. When it comes to pricing, workers typically cost $0.0023 per run, which is about 4,000 runs per 1,000 monthly credits, which is $10. So you can see how they are cheaper compared to custom agents because they are deterministic. So they just run the code, as opposed to the whole custom agent that is an AI-based automation. And so it requires AI reasoning, calling external models, and also managing the context window and all the tokens that consumes. You can see how the value of workers is that they centralize even more capabilities into one single place, that is Notion, together with AI agents, with the workspace where you can still manage all your life and work, with the Notion AI agent that is an on-demand chat, and the additional capabilities that are coming in the developer platform and have been recently announced. So this makes Notion a workspace that's increasingly more expandable and that gives tools also for developers to build on top of the platform, which is certainly an interesting value proposition, especially with AI and the orchestration argument that's increasingly powerful and true, where you orchestrate multiple AI agents to do research and also do some of your work. Notion workers also replace the need for many use cases to use your own custom scripts for automations and syncing external data to Notion, and also use tools such as N8N, Make, Zapier, and similar automation platforms, because now you can easily create and deploy a Notion worker within Notion itself, as opposed to using an external tool that acts as the bridge